Well, December theme is happiness and fulfillment. Woohoo! That's so ready. Well, you're actually there. If you stepped into this center today by accident, we've been expecting you. Thank you for not disappointing us. And we celebrate a lot of things in December, don't we? And today is actually the first day of Hanukkah. Did you know that? Yeah, Hanukkah for the next 10 days. And 10 crazy nights, as they say. But it is a time to honor that energetic, isn't it? Honor the light. So we envision a world in which forgiveness, whether for errors, injustice, or debts, is the norm. And that's from our Global Heart vision. And our subject matter today is our need for forgiveness. Our need for forgiveness. Now, why do we talk about forgiveness so much? Why? All this forgiveness talk. Well, because it's a spiritual tool that is one of the reasons that we have manifested into this world of form. Why we have taken on these things called bodies is forgiving. Now, the infinite holds no unforgiveness. God doesn't hold back love for some and give love to others that God feels is more worthy of love. God gives the same to all, just like the sunshine. How much sunshine does the sun give to you? Does it say, well, you've had enough sun? It doesn't do that. You've got to say that for yourself and get in the shade. Put an extra coat of sunscreen on. But it gives the same to all alike. So from the Science of Mind, this is from Living the Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. He says, we are all human beings and we've all made mistakes. We all carry an unconscious burden of guilt and we all need a sense of being forgiven. One of the most revealing things in the new Science of Mind is that we need to feel that we are right with God, we are right with life, and we are right with each other. Don't you want to feel right? Don't you want to feel like everything's all right? Well, everything is all right. No matter what it may look like, everything is happening exactly the way it's supposed to be happening. And you may go, well, you don't know what happened to me. You don't know my story. You don't know, the trouble I've seen. And this isn't to minimize any challenge that you may have walked through, but it's to see it rightly, to look at it from a different perspective. And my gift to you is to offer a new perspective on things, to give you a new view. You know, when you're down in the midst of it on this plane of existence and you're going day to day and you're living your life and you're in it, you may not see the big picture. But when you can take a step back, and I call it the 30,000 foot view, and look at it as a smaller experience, not that it's less, but there's not so much emotional attachment to it. We may see different things from what we walk through. Medical science has found a correlation between unforgiveness and health issues. Forgiving is also good for your health. So, this new year, shed a few pounds, shed a few grudges, let it go. And I don't say that like off the cuff. Just let that go. Just let all that go. Aren't you ready to let that go? Well, some of us are and some of us aren't. But we have to look at it rightly. So as I was examining this, I was thinking about when we have a debt. What do they call it when you pay a debt off? You forgive the debt. Right? What if we were to see that person who did such a thing as a bank that may have harmed you in some way as just a bank holder of energy? And they loaned you some of their energy and they couldn't pay it back. And we're asking you to forgive the debt. Now, when you take a loan out with the bank, usually you don't have those kind of emotional strings attached to it, right? But they do call it forgiving a debt. And when it was presented to me in this way, I was like, I could see it differently. I could see it as just like releasing the energy rather than letting them walk off scot-free like they didn't do anything. You know what I'm saying? His Holiness the Dalai Lama said, forgiveness is about healing suffering for ourselves and others. And until we develop compassion within ourselves and a concern about the welfare of others, we cannot truly forgive. Cannot truly forgive. One of the things that Ernest Holmes says is it's impossible for us to have a sense of forgiveness while we condemn others. She wouldn't have said that. Because I have to let go of my energy about it, don't I? I have something to heal within myself to make it a perfect resolution, don't I? So how do we do that? Well, are you guys aware of tithing? It's this spiritual principle, actually, that you give to where you're spiritually fed. And they make it a tenth so it's easy to remember. That's my interpretation, is why they call it a tithe. The Bible calls it a tithe because it's easy to remember. For every dollar you give a dime away. So what if we were to look at forgiveness as tithing? And you're just going to tithe forgiveness away, like you tithe your money where you're spiritually fed. Think about it. It changes the process a little bit and takes the sting out of it, at least for me. If it's something that I do that can be done in a way that I just say, you know what, that anger and that resentment that I was carrying, I'm going to tithe that back into the universe because I don't need it anymore. I need to release that into the universal wholeness. I don't need to carry it anymore because what good is it doing us? What is how is my unforgiveness serving me? I had a practitioner, went to my minister and said, I'm having this problem with unforgiveness. I can't let it go. And she's like, well, how's that working for you? I said, well, it's not. That's why I'm here. It's not working for me. It's working against me. And she's like, well, who is this that's working against you? I had a list. I had the list of people that, I had not forgiven. And she was like, aren't you ready to release all that? Isn't it time? I mean, you came here for a reason. I'm like, yeah, but what do you do? She goes, you just decide not to hold them in contempt anymore. How powerful is that? You just change your mind about it? I said, is it that easy? She says, yeah, you just let it go. You just turn into the light and you turn away from what doesn't work. And again, this isn't to lessen, to make them condone what they did. It's to not have any more spiritual escrow tied up in the emotion of the energetic that's not letting you express 100%. What if you could be the wholeness that you were born into? How would you live? What energy would you be putting out? sometimes we get stuck in the story. And we live from the if-only point of view. We can't change the past, but we can change our idea about it. Can't we? If you want to. I mean, if you want to hang on to that grudge, you can, but it may block your inner flow. So I would ask you, what did the experience teach you? What gifts did the challenge bring you? Because if you look closely at the challenges, there's a gift for you. And the reason that it still stings is you haven't gotten the gift out of it yet. Once you get the gift and you realize this has come to pass for a reason, it brought exactly the energetic I needed to transform my life. And I decided not to transform. So I'm holding on to the negative energy of it. Once we go, you know what? This too is good. This too is God. And I demand to see the blessing in this right here and right now. The energy shifts. Now, it takes the consciousness of a saint to do that all the time, doesn't it? But that's what we're striving for, isn't it? Is to be forgiven and to forgive all the time. And every day we have a new chance. Every time we go to the store, just parking, right? Oh, they got my spot. Well, that wasn't yours, because apparently somebody's parking there. You know what I'm saying, though? We have so many opportunities to be for giving. It's all in our perspective. It's all in our perspective. Are you able to see that this experience actually gave you a gift of wisdom, insight, compassion, and allowed you to move into a larger experience of life for yourself? Are you ready to see that? And I was asked by one of my teachers, so if I was to stand before you and take all of your pain, that you would never have the pain of the unforgiveness again. Actually, I would take it away in a way that you wouldn't even remember that it happened to you. And you would grow in ways you could not understand right now. And something inside me said, wait, don't take my pain away. That's mine. That's my pain. Here I am arguing for my limitation, right? That's my pain. I don't want to not forget it. What would I talk about all the time? What would my story be? But there comes a time when you've told your story and it's done. And you are either moved into the next learning experience or not. And it's our choice. So how do we do this? How do we tithe this to the universe? Well, in the class that I'm going to be teaching, The 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity by Edwin Gaines, we explain, we get into the details of how to do this. And one of the 4 spiritual principles is forgiveness. It's not by accident that is one of the spiritual gifts that we have come to this plane of existence to understand. So can you release that energy? And it's okay if you can't. I mean, that's your business. You know, I was to the point where I was either going to let it go or I was just going to get stuck. And I'd been stuck for a long time. Trust me, if worrying could have healed anything, I would have definitely moved on to the next plane of existence. I've worried myself blue trying to figure something out, haven't we? Because we think that will do it for some reason. All that is negative prayer. It's praying in a different direction. We just need to change the direction of our energy. So, in conclusion, forgiveness equals freedom. Don't you want to be free? I think we've all come here to be free. Just let it go. It has brought exactly what was needed, and maybe it no longer serves you, and you can walk on and be even better because of the experience you've had. Is that an option for you? How many times do we have to forgive? 70 times 7, which equals 490. You know, my metaphysical mind wants to do the math all the time. What does that equal? That means ceaselessly. We forgive all the time. What if you were to forgive in advance? Okay, whatever happens tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and forgive it already. I'm going to live in forgiveness, that nobody can harm the calm peace of my soul, because I decide. Nobody else gets to decide how I feel today. That's power. I've taken my power back. When it used to be I would wait to see what everybody did to me to decide if I was having a good day or not. You ever do that? By the end of the day, I was so worn out trying to figure out who wronged me, what they should have said, why they weren't that perfect light of God that I think they should be. My expectation clouded my experience. Expectations are premeditated challenges, aren't they? So when do you feel you're carrying a burden of resentment? And how is it serving you? Are you willing to give up the story? Start by being willing to forgive. Just being willing to be willing. Just by stating that you're willing to be willing, starts the forgiveness process. And the energy changes. Take some time in your daily practice to let go of negative emotions, and slowly and gently you will forgive. And so it is. It's time for our prayer now. So I invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, or take a soft focus on the beautiful lights up here. Let's just remember who we are. I know that there is an essence, an energetic that animates everything that is. It is alive in everything. Everyone, every place, every being. Even in the rock, there is life. I know that each one of us is a divine expression of that power. And as such, we call forth the power of love. I know that that power of love is the healing elixir of the universe. I allow it to be the balm that heals all that is. As we move our minds to what we choose to be, do, and have, turning away from whatever challenges we may be walking through, not to deny them, but to carry us forth into our greatest yet to be. The miraculous energy is here. It is always on and always working. So we are blessed. We give from that place of love, and we receive from that place of love. So I speak a word for anyone anywhere who has ever asked for prayer, be it written or verbal, typed. I know that there is an energy right there that is now active and working. We let God be in every situation, just as it is. So I thank that energy of love. We are blessed by it. We are grateful for all the miraculous blessings that have ever happened or ever will, as we release this word directly into the living law of mind, where it is done, as we affirm it together by saying, and so it is. Amen. Okay.